Let's talk about the subconscious mind programming and how it actually works, the process. What is the psychological, scientific understanding behind it? Because I am a very pragmatic person. I really want to help you guys to understand the process because when you understand the process, it's going to be just so much easier for you to reprogram your subconscious and understand that you were not a victim all this time. And what you were feeling was right, but we need to integrate the feeling. Children up until 7 years old are actually in theta state. What is theta state? Theta state is a hypnotic state. And I want you to just try to remember the earliest memory of your childhood you can. And you will have some memories, but they will be blurry. You won't really comprehend, like you weren't able to comprehend what was going on, right? You were just picking on energies and the feelings. You were absorbing whatever environment you grew up in. And imagine it was a hostile environment or both parents were arguing in conflict constantly. The child absorbs all that, all those energies. Up until 7 years old, we don't know how to act in the world. We really don't know how to talk to a doctor, how to talk to a professor, how to talk to our neighbor. We don't know none of that. And that's why like a lot of us, 17, 18 years old, you're probably scared to call like an organization or like a doctor. That feeling, well, because we don't know how to act in the real world. Where do we actually learn it from? We learn it from our parents. As kids, we were watching, we were observing our parents, how they talked to a neighbor, how they talk to a technician, how they talk to a professor, how they talk with their friend. And trust me that the conversation, the dynamic is going to change based on who they talk to. And me personally, when I was introspecting past of my childhood, I realized that, oh my gosh, yes, I was observing my dad, the way he was talking, the way he was communicating. Only upon reflecting, I realized that this was my programming came from my dad and my behavior, my relationship, the way I talk with people, and the way I actually categorize them as to what I should say and shouldn't say comes from my dad. Let me tell you, when he met higher ups, he was very respectful towards them. But when he met lower people, neighbors, like alcoholics, he was so condescending. And honestly, I took that behavior with me and I was like that for a long time. And even now, sometimes when people really push me, I point it to them and like, hey, look at you, like, bitch, come on. And the conversation is just done. Argument just doesn't go anywhere from there. But what I'm trying to say that this is how we got programmed. You think that you've constructed the way you relate to people, but honestly, you haven't constructed it. This is the programming. You as a kid, you observed your parents, how they act. Now you're acting just like that. But it doesn't mean that we can't reprogram. I want you to understand that we develop beliefs based on what we saw, what we observed and absorbed, and how our parents acted in relation to other people. We've absorbed it and it became our belief system. Going back to example of my dad, right? It became my belief system that, oh, don't fuck with poor people, fuck with wealthy people, or fuck with people of status. I, for a very long time, trust me, I've done 10 years of spiritual work. 2 years ago, I realized that that's where it was coming from. Why am I rating people like this? And it's not all the time. It's just like certain aspects of me, when they get triggered, that's when I act like that. But in general, I don't like to associate. I will help a poor person, but I don't want to be friends with them. And that comes from my dad. Funny that as kids, we really don't have a choice but to adopt all that until we grow up and experience. I'm like, why am I acting like this? Because the environment that we were exposed to creates your belief system, right? And belief system creates your life experiences, meaning that if you believe that poor people don't deserve to be treated well, you're not going to treat them well. Or if you like, even like the simplest thing, if you believe that you have to be wealthy, important in order to be accepted into like wealthy and rich environments. That was my belief. I'm very materialistic because of my dad. And I had to look at, because now like I'm a spiritual person, but that belief that comes from my dad, people in categories, me act sometimes condescending. All I'm trying to say is that a lot of your behavior comes from your parents. We got programmed in the first 7 years because we were in the theta state. Theta state is a hypnotic state. So what does it tell you? It tells you that we can get into theta state and reprogram those limiting beliefs that we acquired as children from our parents. We didn't have a choice because we were not conscious. And just a side note, as a child, children until 7, because of that hypnotic state that they're in, They cannot differentiate between what they're dreaming of and what they're seeing in their reality. I'm telling you guys, like that happened with me because I remember my childhood very, very well. I'm a nerd in psychology. Had a dream, right? I don't remember what exactly it was, but it was some spiritual. I was very spiritual since very early age, and I felt things that other people didn't feel. I could see things other people didn't see. There was dreams where I would go to my parents and say, "Oh, I just saw this. It happened," and they would be, "It never happened." Oh, they kill your vibe. And now we're striving to go back there through meditation, through tricking our state, and all of that stuff. But it's not all set in stone since we can program ourselves when we are in a hypnotic state, which is theta. We can, as adults, also reprogram our subconscious beliefs by going into the hypnotic state, by relaxing our bodies, by letting go of the ego identity, by letting go of the logic. Once you let go of the logic, you can impress your subconscious. Otherwise, you may impress your subconscious or make suggestions, but it will reject it because your logical mind is operating. And the easiest way to do it is listening to affirmation tracks at nighttime. The affirmations that are targeting your specific beliefs, not just other people's. There's some general beliefs that we need to acquire. I'm worthy, I am enough. But again, we don't know exactly what kind of family you grew up in and what kind of belief system you have, what kind of programming you've acquired. Guys, I just really wanted to explain this process programming. Don't feel discouraged in your adulthood about reprogramming your subconscious because it is possible if you have the right information. Follow for more.